If you look at how a fragile ecosystem operates, there is this very delicate, uh, often invisible balance holding everything together.
Right, a very specific equilibrium.
Exactly. And when an invasive species is introduced into that biome, it rarely adapts to the existing rules. Instead, it immediately starts rewriting them.
Yeah, the soil chemistry changes, native species are displaced.
Right, and the entire landscape is just forced into this rapid, highly volatile transformation.
It is a complete disruption. I mean, the environment simply cannot absorb the new element without undergoing a massive structural shift.
And that concept of immediate unintended disruption is exactly what we are exploring today. Welcome to this deep dive, where we are unpacking the intricate events of Session 5 of the Phandelver and Below campaign log.
Yes, we've got a really fascinating stack of campaign notes detailing this particular chapter.
And our mission today isn't just to recap, a group of adventurers arriving in a new town. We are looking at how past trauma and deeply established personal ties dictate present strategy.
Especially in a highly volatile environment.
Right. So, setting the stage, the party has just arrived in the frontier town of Phandalin.
Yeah, the timing is crucial for you to understand here. It's dusk. They have successfully escorted this man named Sildar Hallwinter to safety after rescuing him from a goblin ambush.
Right, so they roll into town with the shadows getting long, presumably just looking for a place to rest and collect their thoughts.
It's just a classic end-of-the-road arrival.
But the reality is, there is no grace period here. To really understand the tensions bubbling under the surface of Phandalin, we first need to look at how the adventurers themselves operate.
Oh, for sure. Because the moment they step off that wagon, their own histories start opening doors.
And uncovering secrets.
Exactly. I mean, this isn't a party of blank slates just passing through. The narrative immediately leverages their backstories to embed them into the town.
Right. Let's examine Threshdog, for instance. He is a half-orc barbarian.
Yeah.
In a lot of fantasy tropes, you might expect him to be treated as a complete outsider or met with heavy suspicion.
Which happens a lot, yeah.
But the reality of his backstory subverts that entirely. He actually used to live right here in Phandalin.
Wait, really? I love when that happens.
Yeah, he even helped fend off goblin raids in the past. So when the party makes their first stop at Barthen's Provisions, Threshdog immediately reconnects with the proprietor, Elmina Barthen.
Oh, that's great.
He actually remembers her father, Elmar.
What's fascinating here is the mechanics of that interaction. From a storytelling perspective, it grounds the narrative instantly. They
Definitely.
aren't just dropping off supplies to a faceless merchant. It's a homecoming. Elmina pays them the 40 gold they were promised, but because of that established trust, they immediately start trading high-level intel about a missing dwarf named Gundren.
And that integration happens on multiple fronts, too. Over at the Stonehill Inn, we see another layer of this with Dane Ironsong, the mountain dwarf fighter.
Right, and Nijovic, the Aasimar cleric.
Yes, essentially a mortal with a trace of celestial angelic blood. And Nijovic starts telling stories to the locals, and Dane accompanies him by playing his viol.
Which is such a brilliant character choice.
I know, right?
I mean, a mountain dwarf fighter playing a stringed instrument in a tavern seems so contradictory until you understand the history.
Yeah.
Dane's clan, the Strong Hollows, earned the name Ironsong because his grandfather played his violin to inspire troops right before a massive battle.
Oh, wow, that is so cool.
Yeah, so every Ironsong learns an instrument they can carry into combat. It's an actual martial tradition.
I really appreciate how that choice breaks the stereotypical mold of the gruff, silent warrior.
Totally.
It shows how cultural world building makes non-player characters, the townspeople, highly receptive to the party.
Except Boston's landing for them.
Exactly. But that kind of cultural integration is just one side of the coin. The other side is highly covert. Which brings us to Chiron Silverspire.
Yes, the tiefling rogue. And a tiefling being someone with distant infernal heritage, Chiron's situation is incredibly layered.
He is essentially a special agent for the Lion Shield Coster, which is this massive mercantile house.
Right.
He's officially in Phandalin to track a lost shipment, but his real personal motivation is investigating his father's murder.
Which changes everything.
Completely. He goes to drop off recovered supplies with Lean Greywind, who runs the local Lion Shield branch. And this is just a masterclass in layered dialogue.
Oh, it really is. Because on the surface, Lean is just thanking him for finding the missing wagon at a goblin hideout.
Right, totally mundane.
But underneath that chat, she's using thieves' cant. It's a secret language of hand and finger signals to communicate a totally different message.
And Chiron is responding in kind with classified intel.
Exactly.
It's like two high-powered executives conducting a ruthless, hostile corporate takeover using nothing but vague business jargon while making small talk at the office water cooler.
That is a perfect analogy.
Nobody else in the room has any idea what's really going on, but I have to ask because I'm looking at all these connections and I'm wondering if this is actually a good thing.
How do you mean?
Well, are these deeply rooted personal ties a strength for the party, or is this a massive liability? Because in a frontier town that clearly has eyes everywhere, being a known entity seems incredibly dangerous.
That is a very astute observation, and honestly, it's a double-edged sword. Being a known entity absolutely puts a target on your back.
Right.
But what it practically does in this moment is give them immediate access to the town's hidden economy. Because of that covert trust, Lion offers Chiron a bounty.
Ah, okay.
She points them toward the Redbrand, a local mercenary group, and their leader, a man known as Glasstaff. She offers them 100 gold pieces to bring Glasstaff in alive, or 50 gold dead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Half price for dead.
Yeah, she explicitly prefers him alive because, as she signals to Chiron, Glasstaff has information that could be very profitable for the Lion Shield coster.
Okay, let's unpack this. We keep mentioning these Redbrands, and this brings us to the overarching political power struggle in Phandalin.
Yeah, the big picture.
Because you have this party integrating into the town through their backstories, and they are walking right into a massive power vacuum.
To understand the vacuum, we have to look at the two men trying to fill it. Sildar Hallwinter and Mayor Harbin Wester.
Okay.
Sildar, the man the party rescued, works for the Order of the Rose. If you think of the Duke as the head of state, the Order of the Rose is his secret agency. It's part intelligence, part federal investigation.
So Sildar isn't just a grateful civilian, he's an institutionalist.
Exactly.
He is in Phandalin looking for a missing wizard named Yarno Albrecht, who was supposed to establish a proper institutional town guard. Sildar wants to work with the local government to develop the town's infrastructure.
Right, but then you have Mayor Harbin Wester, the duly elected local official, and Harbin absolutely refuses to hear a single bad word about these Redbrand mercenaries.
See, I am struggling to see how Harbin justifies this. The Redbrands are walking around in red cloaks, acting like thugs, and running an extortion ring.
It looks really bad.
At what point does a protection racket become worse than the external threats? How can a mayor defend them?
Well, if we look at this impartially, Harbin's perspective is entirely rooted in recent historical trauma.
Okay, how so?
6 to 8 months ago, Phandalin was suffering from severe existential goblin raids. Farms were burning. The Redbrand showed up and successfully protected the town.
Oh, I see.
Harbin takes the credit for bringing them in. So when Sildar approaches Harbin to discuss institutional security, Harbin explicitly orders Sildar not to interfere with the Redbrands.
It is the classic frontier security dilemma.
Yeah, exactly.
If you've ever stepped into a new corporate job while two middle managers are at war over how a department should be run, you know exactly how the party felt walking into this situation.
That is painfully relatable.
Right. You have the local elected official dealing with immediate threats and a federal-style agent coming in from the capital trying to establish long-term order.
You're hitting on the core tension here. It's the friction between a temporary, necessary evil and permanent institutional law.
Yeah.
Harbin argues, quite practically, that vagabond adventurers like our party are transient. They will inevitably leave to chase the next dungeon.
He's not wrong about that.
The town needs a permanent force. Harbin sees the Redbrands as that necessary force for long-term survival, regardless of their methods. Sildar just sees a rogue militia preventing the establishment of a lawful guard.
And as an observer, you can understand the mechanics of this conflict. Harbin isn't written as some cartoon villain. He's a traumatized pragmatist, terrified of his town being overrun.
Right.
And Sildar isn't just a blind bureaucrat. He's trying to stop a militia from becoming a local dictatorship. Both perspectives are logically consistent, but entirely incompatible.
And while these two are having this fundamental debate over governance in the town hall, the surrounding environment is actively pulling the adventurers in a dozen different directions.
Right. The political and the personal start to reach a boiling point, and the party's focus begins to violently splinter.
Take the Timekeeper, for example, the Lightfoot halfling cleric.
Oh, man. This part is wild.
Right in the middle of dinner, he becomes completely distracted by a divine vision from his immortal patron, Coronis.
Just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. The vision warns of a green-eyed goblin menace and urges him to seek out a reclusive elven hermit outside of town.
He literally stands up, says time is pressing, and runs out into the night.
Yeah, he just leaves.
He abandons the party right when the tension in town is peaking.
It perfectly illustrates how divine duties or personal quests can hijack a character's trajectory.
Atumi.
And he's not the only one encountering the weird magical underbelly of this region.
True.
The next morning, the remaining party members investigate the local Shrine of Luck.
Where they meet Sister Garel. She's just returned to town injured, and she tells them about a banshee named Agatha living in the nearby woods of Connieberry.
And the lore behind this is so specifically detailed.
It really is. Sister Garel explains that Agatha used to be exceptionally beautiful, but is now fiercely vain.
Right.
Garel believes she was driven away by the banshee simply because Agatha was jealous of Garel's own beauty.
Too petty.
Right. She hands the party her own jeweled silver comb and asks them to take it to the banshee as a gift, hoping it will secure information about a magical artifact her order needs.
It's a fascinating side quest, but the party has to put a pin in the banshee because the immediate threats are getting much louder.
They really are.
While Sildar and Mayor Harbin are having their tense standoff, Darren Ettermath storms into the room. Duran is an aged Draw, a dark elf, and a retired adventurer.
Oh, this is a great scene.
He dramatically pulls off his hat and cloak and just starts dressing down the mayor in front of everyone, furious about the Redbrand's behavior.
Darren just shatters the mayor's narrative that everyone is happy with these mercenaries.
Completely shatters it. And later, in private, he drops another thread for the party. Prospectors are going missing at Old Owl Well, and there are rumors of werewolves.
So if you're keeping track, we now have green-eyed goblins, a vain banshee, missing prospectors, werewolves, and a corrupt mercenary militia.
It's a lot.
I have to wonder, why would a storyteller inundate a group with so many crises at once?
Because it creates a living, breathing frontier. By overwhelming the party with options, the narrative forces them to ruthlessly prioritize.
Can't do it all.
They cannot save everyone at once. They have to make a choice, and usually that choice is dictated by whatever hits closest to home.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because all of these abstract political debates and distant rumors suddenly get violently personal for Threshtog.
Yeah, this changes everything.
We mentioned earlier that he used to live here. Well, he finds out that a local man named Thel Dendrar refused to pay the Redbrands extortion money. So the Redbrands beat him possibly to death, dragged him off, and now his whole family is missing.
And this is the catalyst. Thel wasn't just some random villager. Thel was Threshtog's very first friend.
Oh, man.
Thel is the man who introduced this half-orc barbarian to civilization 10 years ago. Threshtog actually lived with Thel's family.
When Threshtog goes to Thel's house and finds it ransacked with evidence of a struggle, it shifts the entire paradigm of the session.
It really does.
This isn't a bounty hunt for the Lion Shield coster anymore. It's not about Sildar's town guard. It is a deeply personal rescue mission. The invasive species we talked about at the beginning, it just found its target.
The motivation completely solidifies. They suspect Thel's family has been taken to Tresendar Manor, a ruined estate on a hill overlooking the town that the Redbrands use as a base.
Right?
They decide they cannot wait. They have to hit the manor that night.
Which brings us to the climax of this session, the flashpoint at the entrance of Tresendar Manor.
They get a crucial piece of intelligence from a young boy named Carp Alderleaf.
What does he tell them?
Carp was playing in the woods and found a secret tunnel beneath the ruined manor. More importantly, he saw those strange goblins, the ones with glowing green hands and eyes that the timekeeper was warned about talking to the mercenary leader, Glasstaff, right at that tunnel entrance.
So the party hatches a very logical, stealthy plan. They decide to wait until dark, sneak around the edge of the forest, find the tunnel, and infiltrate the manor from below.
Yep.
On paper, it's a solid strategy.
It is, until the physical reality of their equipment betrays them. Approaching the manor in the pitch black, they try to climb over a ruined rock wall. And Dane's heavy mountain dwarf armor clanks sharply against the stone.
Just that sharp scrape of metal on rock in the dead of night.
It's the worst sound you could hear.
It completely blows their cover. Immediately, they're spotted by 4 Redbrands walking down the road from the Sleeping Giant Tavern, and the confrontation that follows is incredibly tense.
The Redbrands give the party an ultimatum: leave town within 3 hours. The adventurers attempt a diplomatic de-escalation.
Yeah, truly.
They hold their hands out, claiming they're just out for a late-night stroll to familiarize themselves with the town's layout.
But the mercenaries don't buy it. The tension is thick. The Redbrands demand they leave again, and then Jovic, the cleric, decides diplomacy has failed and drops a sleep spell.
One Redbrand drops unconscious instantly, and the road erupts into chaos.
It's a full-blown skirmish. Dane knocks one out with the hilt of his weapon. Charon shoots an arrow into another who tries to run away yelling.
Total mayhem.
Threshtog and Muron force the conscious ones to surrender. They quickly tie up the prisoners and shove them into the bushes, but the yelling has attracted attention, and their stealth approach is ruined.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this exact moment is where the political tension from the town hall perfectly pays off.
Oh, yes. The betrayal.
The party looks down the road toward the Sleeping Giant Tavern, and they see 5 more Redbrands sprinting toward them. But look at who is standing outside the tavern, physically pointing the party out to the approaching mercenaries.
It's Mayor Harbin Wester.
Yep.
The duly elected mayor is literally directing a mercenary hit squad at the party.
He has officially chosen his side. When push came to shove, Harbin chose the brutal practicality of the Redbrands over Sildar's institutional authority and the adventurer's heroics.
I have to admit, as much as I questioned Harbin's logic earlier, this is a brilliant narrative payoff.
It really is.
It is a massive betrayal, but it is entirely logically consistent with everything Harbin argued in the town hall. He told Sildar he needed the Redbrands, and now he is protecting his investment.
Exactly. So what does this mean for the party tactically?
They're in trouble.
They have to abandon the secret tunnel. They are completely exposed on the road. They make a desperate dash straight up the hill into the ruins of Tresendar Manor itself.
And the tactical environment of this manor is fascinating. When you hear manor, you might think of a spooky, intact, haunted house with long hallways and grand staircases.
Right, like a classic Gothic setting.
But this is a literal ruin. There are no second or third floors anymore, just open sky above them. The interior walls are crumbling, most of them only standing about 4 feet high.
It's essentially a maze of low stone barriers sitting on a solid stone foundation. It drastically changes how they have to fight.
They rush inside, and at the back of the main hallway, they find a set of open doors with stairs leading straight down into the pitch black.
So creepy.
Threshtog, burning with rage over his kidnapped friend, plants himself at the top of those stairs. He tells the party, "I don't have a bow. I'm holding this choke point so nothing comes up behind us."
It is a phenomenal use of terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Threshtog secures their rear flank, while the rest of the party takes cover behind those 4-foot ruined walls.
Smart.
They draw their bows, ready their spells, and fire down into the dark at the oncoming wave of Redbrands.
It is a desperate tactical standoff. 1 mercenary goes down, 2 more are injured, and that is exactly where the session ends.
A total cliffhanger, but one that feels entirely earned.
We started this deep dive talking about the disruption of an ecosystem. The party went from simply dropping off supplies at a general store to uncovering a corrupt political regime, ancient elven lore, a terrifying banshee, and now they're in a full-blown siege at a ruined manor.
It escalated so fast.
And it all stems from their individual backstories colliding with this town's trauma.
Chiron's corporate ties got them the bounty. Dane's cultural heritage won over the tavern. Threshtog's past friendship turned an abstract political dispute into a blood feud.
Yeah.
It proves that in a well-crafted narrative, backstory isn't just flavor text. It is the very engine that drives the plot forward.
So true. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final provocative mystery to mull over.
Ooh, I love these.
It goes back to that Shrine of Luck where they met Sister Grail. When the party was inspecting the shrine, they noticed the altar was made of a strange black stone not natural to the area.
Right.
Ninjovic and Dane realized these exact same ancient stones had been repurposed and used in the foundations of mundane buildings all over Phandalin.
And Jovic sensed that these black stones still give off a latent magical aura.
Right. They're literally the building blocks of the town. If those stones still hold dormant ancient magic, what happens to Phandalin if whatever originally charged them wakes up?
That is terrifying to think about.
You have this volatile political situation on the surface, but right beneath the villagers' feet, locked in the very foundations of their homes, is a magical powder keg waiting for a spark.
A literal powder keg.
Exactly. Think about that the next time you assume the ground beneath you is entirely stable. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.